Welcome back. It's episode 4 with Clear Skies. Woot woot.
What? We made
I
it to
know
4.
it.
They said we couldn't do it.
They said we'd never.
And here we are.
Prove them wrong.
That's right.
Every time.
Okay, well, welcome everyone. Your hosts are me, Caroline, and Jim.
That's me.
And we love to have a little bit of fun while we're waiting for other people to join. So today we have a quick little quiz. Which email would people usually open first? So you've got an inbox full of unread emails. These are the first 4 on the top. Which one is more likely to be opened first? I found the research on Reddit, and I also did one in office here.
After my weekend, I need a new car warranty, unfortunately.
We'd like to reach out to you about your car's extended warranty.
Yes,
Need to reschedule, right?
3 weeks ago, you received an email marked urgent. What are you going to do? Archive it, delete it, respond now, or maybe snooze it for another 3 weeks? I think Jim's snoozing.
No, I'm not a snoozer. I snooze meetings, but never emails or alarm clocks. Delete it.
No, people are responding when they see it. It's urgent, right?
What's
Now-
really urgent?
Which would be better to do these tasks? Organizing 500 emails into folders in 10 seconds? Probably AI.
Yeah, absolutely.
Writing a reply to a confused customer?
Human.
Probably something you want to do yourself. Finding the most urgent message in an overflowing inbox and deciding what can be ignored entirely? You wouldn't want AI doing that, would you?
One day.
Now, my favorite part of the show, the only part that I can give you, your fun facts of the day. The average professional spends 2 hours a day managing emails. That's 12 weeks of work. That's a long time to be organizing your inbox. Studies show that when you switch tasks, it takes you several minutes, the longest being up to 15, to regain focus on a complex task. So switching from emails to what you were doing and then back to your emails is causing you to lose time. My personal favorite, the first email and Disney World happened in the same year. It's been 50 years since we've gotten either one of those, and we're still trying to figure out how to get our inbox organized. Before everything begins, I would love to start this with the polls and surveys that we normally do. So first, if anyone here would be honest about how many unread emails are currently sitting in their inbox, we have given you an option not to publicly shame yourself. If it's way more than 400, feel free to not tell us. Or do. We would love to hear it.
Want the dirty truth.
Now, I'm
Leaving.
positive Rob is, I'd rather
He's
not
probably
publicly
buried in his
shame
email
myself.
No.
He's too busy to
Sorry,
email to get the
I was looking at some emails. What were we talking about?
I know a lot of people have a lot of emails in their inbox, probably promotional emails, some spam. We've got solid participation. And so we're going to get to our next poll. How do you currently feel about the emails in your inbox?
Feel.
And how does that make you feel? Don't worry, I'm not taking notes. It can be stressful.
I stay on top of it. Keep it organized.
I do, because it makes me anxious if I don't.
I love that no emails in your inbox at the end of the day on Gmail, where it gives you a little celebration. And it's like, you're done.
I think
feel
I.
good.
So we've got
All
some
right.
good answers there. I'll share those
Cool.
back.
We've got somebody in the chat. Oh, yes. Michelle loves those hot air balloons from Microsoft. Me too,
There you
girl.
go.
Me too. All right. So this is the portion where I'm going to pull Robin. If you could just explain who this lovely Dan Martell is.
This is a book my friend, he's a CPA who has a firm up in the Carolinas. He handed to me and he said, "You need to read this. Your life is chaos." And Dan Martell says one of the first things he does is to get an executive assistant to start taking over reading email. You can get in the discipline of doing email at 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Your EA can flag you if there's something extremely urgent, but at the end of the day, you should be developing a process around your email. It made me think about that. If this guy who's bought a ton of businesses says this is what he does, and I said to myself, well, maybe I should listen. So I drank the Kool-Aid, hired an executive assistant, and went through the hellacious process of handing over my email. But I realized how quickly it was chaos, even to try to explain it to someone else. An interesting new problem showed up, though, and that's that even when you have somebody who's working on your inbox, the one I had was a remote one that was in and out during certain times a day. Certain emails would get lost, things that really needed to be forwarded didn't get forwarded right away. Maybe things that just needed to be flagged for attention right away didn't. And so it created this other anxiety. I'm giving something away, but it's not fast enough. And I started looking, right? I started using the AI assistants and Google to ask what AI email tools are out there. And I tested a bunch of them. I think I tested Fixer was one that really stood out. I have to tell you, as a recovering control freak, I got anxiety when I was trying to use these tools because they would do their own thing. There was no input from me as to how the system would work. Messages started to disappear from my inbox. My blood pressure's rising and I have to go get a bag and start breathing. It was insane. And I tried a bunch of these tools and they all kind of felt the same way. You talk to an AI chatbot, describe your day and email to me. And I'm like, I don't think you understand the chaos. So I tried this other tool called Inbox Zero. At this point, I think I'm at tool 4 and I'm like a parched person in a desert looking for water. I give this tool a shot. The first thing I liked about it was don't turn everything on at once. Just start small. I already had some folders lined up. I already had an EA process. And I'm like, why don't I start giving little portions of this process that I've developed with my EA onto this platform? What I liked about it was it could be a blend of human written instructions by words, which is what AI is great at, such as, hey, if this looks like a marketing email from this company, it's actually not. It needs to go here. So I started working in this program and Elie's head popped up one day in the side and was like, hey, if you've got ideas, chat here and send something here. So I did and sent some away and he responded and we met a few times. I really liked his story. And I thought showing people a product that has affected me daily and can affect others who are buried in their inbox, that this would be a great way to show a real world solution. And who better to introduce it than the founder?
The inbox champion has entered the chat. Everybody meet Elie.
Hey, nice to meet everyone. Great to be
Thanks
here.
for joining us.
It's great you've been enjoying the product. A bit about me. I've run a few different businesses. I used to run a development agency. A lot of the work I was doing there was based on email. I ran another startup as well. And I was starting to do something new. And my email, like I had the option, should I go and hire an EA? Could cost a couple of $100 or even a couple of $1,000s a month. It was around the time that AI was starting to get quite good, like GPT-3-ish time. So I was like, okay, maybe I can push the AI far enough to hand off my inbox to it. So that's how Inbox Zero was born. It's at getinboxzero.com. High level, we organize your inbox based on how you want it organized. We have defaults that we recommend for most people. We organize it how you want. And then the other thing we do is draft replies. And there are other smaller features like you can bulk unsubscribe from emails, bulk archive emails that you never read. We remind you to follow up on emails that you might have forgotten to. The goal is to have a huge amount of noise in our inbox. Sometimes 90% of it is noise, but then that 10% matters. So the goal for the Inbox Zero product is, can we make sure that you're staying on top of the emails that matter so you don't miss them?
I am going to show you my inbox and show you the tool. But if you have some questions or other thoughts, please feel free to throw them in the chat and QA.
Yeah, and don't worry, guys. We have a therapist lined up for Rob after he's shamed with the amount of emails he's going to show you.
So a bit about Inbox Zero. If you do have a lot of emails in your inbox, it's more than okay. I think even for a lot of people, it might even be optimal. I think a lot of us have a few different inboxes. For my personal inbox, I have a lot of emails there right now. Most of it is not very important. And so I go into it every few days. I check if there's something that really needs my attention, but I'm not on top of that the same way as I am for my business email. My business email is near zero a lot of the time. If I look now, I probably have around 10 emails there that I'd like to get through today. For a lot of people, you might not have that much work that's happening over email. Some people have more, some people have less. A lot of people are spending more time in Slack or phone calls to do their work. And so it really depends on you how important Inbox Zero is. But having said that, there are some real benefits getting to Inbox Zero, and that's the purpose of the product we run. The biggest benefit is when you get into your inbox, and if you have 50,000 items in your inbox, it's difficult to stay on top of everything. You have this constant flow of noise coming in, and it's hard to prioritize what's important and what isn't. And if you only have 10 emails sitting there, it's easier for me to get to zero, but it's not overwhelming to try and get through it all. Just knowing, okay, it's done, has some major benefits, and it can make a lot of people more productive. One of the main things we do is organize it. We have so many different types of emails coming in. So we get newsletters, we get marketing emails, we get cold emails that people trying to sell us stuff. We get receipts, we get emails we have to reply to, or an email where we sent a reply and we're awaiting a reply. And all of that is bundled into one. One of the big things that we do is, for Gmail at least, we offer this extension that just makes it a lot more manageable. Show you all the emails that say just for your newsletters that haven't been archived. And me personally, my daily workflow there will be, I'll scan through all my different newsletters and I'll check them all off. Basically, I'll do select all in Gmail, maybe unselect one of them that I want to read and archive all the rest. But just being able to see all my newsletters in one place and not having to worry, this one needs a reply, this is a receipt I need to send to the accountant. So those tabs that split things up and the AI having automatically organized it into these categories can be extremely helpful. And then even, let's say for my marketing emails, they don't even come into my inbox, or cold emails, they automatically get archived when they come in. So the AI reads the email, sees that this is a cold email you don't need to reply to. It will automatically label it as a cold email. It will archive it away. So it's still there. We never delete. It's always there in search, but it's not filling up my inbox with information which isn't important. The other cool thing, when we block these cold emails, sometimes people are worried that an email will be blocked accidentally that I need to reply to. So we have a few safeguards in place there. We'll never block someone that you've messaged in the past or that's messaged you. But if somebody does get blocked, we'll automatically send them a notification telling them that the email's been blocked. If they have been blocked, it will be like an automated response from our AI, not from you, saying this email didn't actually go through. You might want to try another way of getting in touch if it is actually important. 95% of the time, these emails don't need to get through and it saves you noise. On occasion, it's happened to myself recently. Somebody got blocked as a cold emailer that I was working with and got in touch with another way. We have both a Slack and Microsoft Teams integration built in. So if you are spending a lot of your day in Slack or Teams, we can notify you there of the important things. Rob mentioned before, a good tactic can be just be on your inbox twice a day. But if you have an EA, there's an important thing you might want to know throughout the day. Like there's a really important email that came in. So what I do is I try and look at my email once or twice a day, morning and evening. I try not to be on it too much. And this is the general tip I'd recommend. And the other thing is that I get notified on Slack if I do have an email I need to reply to. These don't happen necessarily the whole time, but if I let everything come in, I'd be checking it every few minutes. Here, I get notified if there is something I need to reply to quite quickly. I check my inbox once or twice a day, and this is a habit that can lead to lower stress. It's not the only way to manage your inbox. I have friends that are very good at managing their inbox. They're always at inbox zero, and they look at it throughout the day. They manage it quite well this way as well. But for a lot of people, I think it can lead to that 2 hours a day in your inbox when it could be less for a lot of people. A bit more about what we do. Rob mentioned this before, but we have a good set of defaults for you when you start using the product. These are emails that need a reply. These are marketing emails, which are going to archive for you. But the real power is that you can take this to another level. Rob has actually done this himself to quite an extent. For example, in the past, I had to forward receipts to my accountant. This is an action that the agent can take on my behalf. And you can just write a one-liner. Hey, any receipts coming in, just label them as receipt and forward them to my accountant. And that will happen for all future receipts. If there's team members you need to be notified about, or legal contracts you want put in a certain place, or certain projects you're working on, they need to be organized in a certain way. For attachments, we have special handling for that. That's more of an advanced feature. There's a lot of customizability and people can set it up to their own needs. We have good defaults, but you can customize it as needed. The last thing I'm going to cover is we have this bulk unsubscribe feature, which can also be really handy. If you're that person that just wants to clear out a lot of emails very quickly, there's probably 20 senders or so taking up a huge number of emails in your inbox. We have features that allow you to unsubscribe from these emails quickly. So for example, you might have emails from Deliveroo, or let's say a product hunt, you're getting a lot of these marketing emails. My wife actually, when she started using Inbox Zero, I think she was getting 3 emails a week from Allbirds. She had signed up once for a promotion and they were just constantly flooding her inbox. She didn't actually realize because it was like 3 emails a week. They just pop up here and there, but it's just this constant noise. And there's a lot of emails like that. So we'll basically show you the emails that you never read. We'll show you like, hey, these emails, you read 3% of them, and we allow you to very quickly unsubscribe. But that's the other big tip I'd give for people, even if not using Inbox Zero itself. but constantly unsubscribing from the emails that you just realize you're never reading, that can really go a long way to clearing out the noise in your inbox so you can focus on the things that actually matter. If there are any questions, more than happy to answer.
Yeah, Elie, what was the most challenging part of creating this for you?
Yeah, so in the early days, AI wasn't as strong as it is now. The battles with AI are still ongoing. There's costs. And so when you're managing this at scale for thousands of users, the Inbox Zero itself has over 20,000 signups. We have large enterprises using it, and also small customers managing their personal inbox. There's a lot of challenges around managing email at that scale, what the AI costs are for us, but still making sure the quality is good enough for our users. In the early days, the AI problems were harder because it would get mixed up so often. Now, the base level for AI is quite high, and we do a very good job on them, much better than we were doing 2 years ago.
How much time do you think this saves on average?
The biggest clients, it can be hundreds or even 1,000 plus people in the company. It depends because the inboxes are so different. So, for example, one case that I know quite well is an influencer agency that we work with. They used to have multiple people sitting on these inboxes because they had so many different influencers. Each one of them gets flooded with the same questions over and over. And they actually really heavily automate their inbox management. I didn't mention this before, but Inbox Zero can even automatically reply on your behalf. I wouldn't recommend for most people. I'd usually recommend having drafts, and that's the regular mode. For most people in a professional context, I'd recommend drafts. But if you've got a support inbox where it's always the same questions, or somebody asks the influencer, like, hey, can you give me medical advice? Or much as a sponsorship, there are quite clear rules in terms of how the AI is supposed to respond. And so they're saving a huge amount of time. They don't look at their inbox sometimes for a few days at a time, which I find interesting. So that, I would guess, is one of the biggest time savings in terms of our clients.
This is for Rob and Elie. How long does it take from the moment you decide to use Inbox Zero to it running and doing everything you want it to? How long does it take to set it up for it to learn it?
It takes a while, but it's not in the way you think. My journey really started over a weekend. I was messing with this on a Sunday afternoon, categorizing from the historical existing content in my inbox, because you do have the feature to go, hey, go back to a certain date or this date range and just work with that range. I could tell you that immediately I saw some wins and some other stuff. I was like, oh, that's not right. But I mean, talk is cheap. It's one thing to talk about. It's another thing to see it. So sharing it over
I
here.
will say, just before you continue,
Yeah.
for most people, you can get set up in like 3 minutes because the defaults are quite good. But yeah, I'll let Rob continue.
Okay, you know what?
Gets my head.
You're right. You do come on and you get this onboarding wizard to walk you through, right?
There's actually
Connected.
another one. The onboarding's updated a few times. If you go to like /onboarding, you'll get the most recent. But this is more
I'm
like
such
once
an
you're
early
actually in.
adopter that I'm on the
yeah,
Well,
yeah. There's like a flow before, which you may never have seen actually.
fair. So it walks you through some stuff and even lets you set up your tone too, which is kind of cool, right? And so you walk through, how do you want to label things? And then it does walk you through what Elie was talking about, the bulk unsubscriber. Just immediately get some wins and some feedback. It's so funny that you mentioned Product Hunt, because it's only 19 messages, but it's there. So
Your inbox of thousands, 19 is still a bigger number.
yeah, exactly. But then you connect your calendar. And the reason for doing that is if people say, hey, when's a time we could schedule something? I believe the AI drafter can look at that and prompting some replies. There's a tabs extension you can use as well in your browser. I actually ended up moving more of a true Dan Martell style inbox. But if anything, right out of the gate, these top 4, these are like the system prompts. It comes with marketing, receipts.
Yeah, alerts, I don't think so. Oh, maybe you renamed it from notifications to alerts.
Maybe I did, or this is something I did, high importance alerts. And the other thing too that I really liked about this is these alerts will come in, but then archive themselves out of my inbox after 30 minutes, which is a pretty cool feature that is not built into your native email platforms. This cold emails is shockingly brutal. It gets rid of so many things that I don't want. It's neat that you can edit the prompt. This is like an agent that's looking at this email. I changed it from the cold email to vendor noise because that's
By the
usually
way,
my world.
one pro tip that if you click on cold email, this is also a relatively new feature, like a few months ago. If you scroll down, you can do add action and you can notify the sender if this is someone. So we'll send
that's
you
very
don't necessarily
cool.
need to enable it, but it's that extra level of protection. New users get this turned on by default these days.
That's super cool. Love that.
And that's
then-
the just message me another way you're not getting through via email message.
Yeah. So if they are someone that actually knows you, they should be able to get in through another way. If it's messaging you on LinkedIn or giving you a phone call, they'll at least be aware that you've been blocked. Most of these people, they'll get the email and be like, well, it was a cold email. I'm not going to try to get in touch another way.
The thing that's helped me get so much productivity back is I get certain alerts that just come to me as an admin on certain systems. They really don't need to go to me, but the systems don't make it easy for me to change the flow. That's how they're built, right? So one example is the lovely Autotask API alerts. I can set up an automatic forward based on the subject, but don't get me wrong, you can do some of this stuff natively in Gmail or your other platforms, but having it all in one place along with the AI assistant version is really nice. I'm on a system that looks for payment failures. I can forward it with extra content and send it to somebody else on the team. And not all of these are discrete. Some of them are AI, where you're using a language model. I was going to try to show there's sometimes I get tickets, like people that come in and send me something that really should go in the ticketing system. And for some reason, it still goes to me. And I can send those into Autotask without me being the one to do it, right? Here, this is a perfect example. This system, I have a language model prompt that says what it's looking for, and it's looking for a very specific kind of alert. The problem is that the subjects on these messages are inconsistent. So I literally tell the language model to read the message, and if all the backups show healthy, you don't have to worry about this. But if there's any kind of unhealthy, warned, or troubled alert, then forward it into the ticketing system. This is something you cannot do with any other platform that I've seen. Pretty cool.
Well, Elie, the inbox champion for nothing.
Yeah, over time, you can see there's a lot I have turned off, but then I started building my own filing system for all these little one-offs. So when I tell you it's forever, it's because I keep over time looking for new ways to do things. I started flagging certain things that are going to need my attention right away. And this is really nice. I get my inbox to be just on the things I should be focused on. I have a customer account management piece too, specific to current account management type things that are in progress. So like, hey, did I skip anything related? You can see I had something come in related to a sales thing this morning. I actually do still have an EA that helps me with things, and she can flag certain things. There are things related to HR and payroll that automatically file right into here instead of gumming up my mailbox. The other thing Inbox Zero does is you introduced this briefing feature not too long ago, Elie, and I really like this. The briefing for a meeting today, and it's walking through who is who, and it's going to read any past recent emails and tell me a little bit about it. Here's one where I'm meeting with a vendor. It's literally reading my messages and my calendar and tells me about my interaction with this individual, right? That's not something you have to turn on, but I like it. It tells me 3 hours before any meeting. I know that this number, like 933, seems like, wow, this tool's not doing anything, but I get 300 emails a day, and I used to have 3,500 messages at any given time. And I've recently transitioned to another EA, and she's gotten the okay to start moving things out. That's on me, not her. Another neat feature, I get these invoices from certain vendors, but we want them to forward into our AP processing system. So again, I have Inbox Zero looking for an email from Antigen to do this process for me. So you could see this vendor Antigen, it knows what it is based on the language model. It knows where it came from, and it's going to forward it to the ramp email address for our payables. Again, one little additional automated task I don't have to do. The next thing I really like about it too, Elie, is I can test things. When I make a rule or if something goes wrong, I'm like, oh, something went wrong. I can go into the history, and I think this is your best feature. I can see that didn't work the way I wanted it to work. It filed it wrong. And I can go over here to fix, and I can interact. It asks me what rule I wanted to match. And then I pick the rule, or I just say it shouldn't have matched any rule. It'll ask me to describe what went wrong, and then it'll try to either alter the rule or create a new rule for me. I think that's so nice to have the software be intelligent for you on what you're actually trying to accomplish.
Especially if you're dealing with 933 emails and you don't want some of them to disappear randomly.
It's a lot
So you
of
can test it
anxiety.
first. Yeah.
Exactly.
And just for the people here with us today, everyone said that they were somewhere between 200 and 400 for the most part. And Rob is a great example of what it looks like to have 23,447 updates.
I'm on the I've accepted inbox zero is a mess thing. Did you have those poll results?
Yeah, absolutely. So before the show, we asked you how many emails land in your inbox on a good old average Wednesday. Most people said it was manageable under 25, but we do have that 75 to 150 crowd where it feels like they're doing two jobs at once.
Hey, we still are in that 75% of people are 100 or less. And somebody else is in my club, the 400 more. No one said they'd rather not publicly shame themselves. I guess they're like me and they've accepted their fate.
I guess so. I'm a 0 by the end of the day kind of gal, so I can't say that I'm in that boat with you, boss. Unfortunate, but true.
I've also have from the poll results today, what were the emotions about inboxes?
Yes.
And it was basically where people are saying, how do you currently feel about your inbox? 33% said they stay on top of it, keep it organized. And 2/3 said it's manageable, but I spend too much time there. So I think there's a consensus. It's an interruption, right?
Oh, yeah. And it can take you up to 15 minutes to get back on track if you've been waylaid into emails, especially if you're doing a complex task like billing or dealing with someone who's upset.
I see a couple people on here that I think they could use this in their day-to-day. Even if you're managing email for somebody else or co-managing email, if you are yourself an EA, this tool could work for the mailbox you're managing as well as yourself. That's one of the things I like about it, because you can train it on the things that are urgent or to automatically file certain things or even forward certain things on your behalf so you don't have to do them. If you could just get back 30 minutes a day, starting with, you can get there in a week.
1 minute at a time.
For those who are way too far away, the 50,000 email type inbox, I'd suggest every email that's older than like a month, archiving all of that. It's basically archived anyway. You're never going to get to email 5,000. But what that does for you is it takes you down to a much more manageable number. You might get from 50,000 down to 500 or 1,000. It could be even emails older than 2 weeks. Maybe keep a few that you know you need to handle or put that in your to-do list. If you have a completely overflowing inbox, that's what I'd usually suggest. Get rid of them, and then you have a much easier time of trying to get to that inbox zero.
Absolutely.
The other thing, if you're curious how many emails you get a day, we have a free analytics section within inbox zero, and it shows you how many emails you're getting every day. I'd be curious how accurate people were when they say, I think I get 25 emails a day, how close people are for that. A lot of the people I see, they're more in the 100 emails a day range, but that might also be because these are the people that sign up for inbox zero that need the help. I would be interested because I don't know if I'd be able to predict how many emails I get every day, but this is a demo inbox on screen. You can see it's getting 45 emails a day. You can see how long it takes you to reply. This inbox right now isn't replying. You can see a clear breakdown of what's happening in your inbox and why.
Absolutely. That's so cool.
Made my anxiety go. Do you see a trend at all?
I think the aha moment, in terms of the immediate value, I think you can get to it very quickly. The biggest immediate values are things like a bulk unsubscribe, bulk archive. That is just a quick win for a lot of people. In terms of your email management, if you're spending 15 minutes on email a day, I'd say probably inbox zero isn't the product for you. But if like an inbox like Rob's, your sort of persona, you run your own business, you get flooded with emails. That's a large number of our customers. It depends, like time to value. Like ideally, we're bringing you some value immediately, but a lot of the time you do want to slightly adjust it or add more rules. Rob's number of rules, that's less typical. Like most people do have maybe like 10-ish rules, like 10, 15 rules, and most of them are the defaults. Rob has, so don't feel overwhelmed. You need to add 500 rules, but you have that option if you want it.
Yeah,
Rob
it really
can
helps
start
train it.
with that he's a recovering control freak. So he had to give it a lot of rules.
I need to know it's going to do what I want it to do.
Yeah. But you have more complicated processes. You're managing a business. You have a lot of people under you. So yeah, it depends who you are as to how much you need to set up and how much you want to automate. And also, it's sometimes difficult for people to think through the processes of what they actually want handled. Rob is able to do that, knows that every time this type of email comes in, it needs to be handled this way. So he'll automate it. A lot of other people won't necessarily think through it in the same way.
It's fair.
Absolutely. Yeah. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you with us, Elie. Truly, this has been fun Clear Skies for me and learning about this Inbox Zero. We will let everyone get back to their workday. Thank you for joining us and learning about smarter workflows and taking time to do what matters most and not just organize emails. If you have any questions or comments, reach out to us on our Clear Skies email. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.